Hey everybody, it's Christine up today with one last project for the scrap room this month. This one is using the DoubleShot kit, and it is featuring some BoBunny products, which I didn't even know BoBunny still was around. So that was kind of a fun discovery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this really pretty diagonal striped paper. I took an inch off of it all the way around, and then I'm going to trim along the diagonal stripes. Approximately, as you can see, it's kind of a watercolored look, so it's not going to be a super straight, concise cutting, but it's still going to get the job done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those back together, but pull up the edges, kind of create some interesting dimension, just making the most of patterned paper for what it's worth. I've got this, or I was drawn to this paper specifically because of the stripes, because of the colors, and because I knew I could do something unique with it. So now you're going to see I'm putting it back together, and I'm using a piece of cardstock behind it. And as I go, you're going to see, I'm going to put one down, and then the one before it, I'm going to pull up the edge. So I don't pull that up until I put the next one on, simply because I don't want to lose too much of the size. I don't want to overlap things and whatever. So this ensures that I put it back together exactly as it is. And yes, some white will still show from underneath it, but I'm not like taking it from an 11 by 11 square and making it into a 10 by 10 square. I want it to still hopefully measure about 11 by 11. So putting it back together, you can see how much this changes up the look of it. But what really stands out is that you get some great texture and dimension going without having to do that much, just by changing the paper slightly. Now, having reassembled it, I'm going to add that to white cardstock base. So it was on a square, I trimmed around it, and then I just put it right onto a white cardstock base. And then I'm going to add my pictures. Now you'll notice I'm adding some 3D foam tape underneath them. The reason for that is those stripes have dimension. So my pictures are not going to lay flat. And so just by adding that on there, I'm not going to flatten out my stripes, and my pictures are going to just lay more smooth. It gives them more of a level surface to sit on. Now, these are some pictures I've had sitting in my picture pile for quite a while, at least 2 years. And I love what's happening in the pictures, but there hasn't been quite the right collection for them. And as I was sorting through looking for what I wanted to use with this, I noticed that the curtains in the background of the pictures matched really nicely with these stripes. And so that is what I went with. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the ephemera that came with the page kit, that being different tag shapes. And I'm actually going to flip them over, take the color out as an option, and I'm going to use the white portion of them to frame my photograph, ending up making a visual triangle. I'm also going to use these doilies that came in the page kit, and same thing, I'm going to use those in spots to, along with the tags, to be embellishments and enhance the entire look of the layout and add layers beneath those photos to really make them pop. With the complicated-ish, I mean, it's not really complicated, but it looks complicated. With the complicated look of the background, is what I'm trying to say, I don't need to go over the top with my embellishing, etc. And so I'm just going to use some simple pieces to play up those pictures. My title stickers do come just from my stash. There wasn't anything great for a title or big enough for a title in my page kit. Now, there could be in your ephemera. It just happens that there wasn't in mine. And so I just went through my stash to find something that coordinated. These ones come from Simple Stories. Because they bring in black, I'm going to use these stickers that came in my page kit to bring in a little more black. And what I'm going to do, I'm not looking necessarily at the shape of these. I am just using them literally to look like there's some doodling in the background of the layout. So I'm going to tuck those in where I've got my 3 areas of clusters to, again, just bring in that black, play it up a little bit more, and add a little more detail. And that will really round out my layout. You know, this is one of those that, like, again, and I say this all the time, the background is complicated, therefore the next parts of it are pretty simple and straightforward. Thinking about things like, hey, how can I use this paper in a unique way? How can I use the ephemera that maybe doesn't fit? Because I've got this colorful background, I didn't want the colorful ephemera, so I just flipped it over and used the white side. That's still making use of the page kit. It's just repurposing the items that were within it so that you don't have to dig into your stash for more stuff. And that worked really well. So just kind of thinking outside of the box as you approach these things. So all that said, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for being here, and keep an eye out later in the week for the August kits, which are coming out tomorrow. We will see you again next time.